Returning resident robbed on their way from the airport. This is Undiluted News. Mikey Bones reporting. Two elderly UK residents were held up and robbed in Clarendon Park in Clarendon on Tuesday night shortly after arriving in the island. The two retirees, aged 82 and 71 years, were robbed along with another woman after their vehicle developed a flat tire, police said. Reports were that the elderly couple arrived at the Norman Manley International Airport in Kingston from England and were picked up by a woman in a grey Toyota motor vehicle. They left the airport en route to Mandeville, Manchester, but developed a puncture and stopped in Clarendon Park. Police said while there, a grey-colored motorcar stopped and the occupants inquired about the situation. They were told that the vehicle had a puncture, but assistance was on the way. The men informed them that a tire shop was nearby and drove off. The same car returned shortly after, and two men reportedly alighted from the vehicle, which parked near the roadway. The men approached the vehicle, and one brandished a knife, held up one of the retirees, and took an envelope containing £6,000 and 60,000 Jamaican dollars. The other retiree was robbed of two Samsung cell phones, valuing £250 each. A Sony Xperia valued £100 and a piece of luggage. The woman was robbed of a pouch containing her driver's license, bank card, and about 8,000 Jamaican dollars. Police said the culprits then ran and boarded the vehicle and drove off. Meanwhile, Justice Minister Delroy Chuck has hailed a judgment by the UK-based Privy Council as a big win in the local campaign to prevent gun violence and inflict harsh jail sentence on those convicted of gun-related offences. The Privy Council denied Tafari Morrison's appeal after he was convicted by local courts in 2013 for a robbery in which the victim was robbed of his smartphone and shot multiple times despite having given up his phone to Morrison and his cronies. Morrison was 16 years old when the incident occurred. He had pleaded guilty to the offense of robbery, illegal possession of a firearm, and wounding with intent. The Supreme Court had imposed a mandatory minimum sentence of 15 years in prison on the teenager. The boy attorney filed an appeal that the sentence was prohibited by the Charter of Fundamental Rights and Freedom and was therefore unlawful. The attorney then took the matter to the Privy Council, but their argument was rejected by the law lords who ruled that the minimum mandatory sentence was not unconstitutional and did not infringe on the Charter of Rights. Minister Chuck warned critics that tougher laws are also on the horizon for people convicted of murder. The government has now tabled two bills to increase the minimum mandatory sentence for murder. Under the proposed amendment, people who plead guilty to murder will have to serve a minimum of 30 years before becoming eligible for parole. A suspected robber was shot and injured by police in the vicinity of DuPont Primary School in Olympic Way in Kingston on Thursday morning. Reports are that two men tried to rob a wholesale when they were challenged by a police officer in the vicinity. The men then allegedly fired at the police, who returned fire, hitting one of the robbers. The other one escaped. A firearm was recovered in the process. The St. Andrew South police are now investigating. Gunmen made off with more than $600,000 during an armed robbery on Wednesday at Pavilion Jewelers in Spring Plaza, Constant Spring Road. A security guard gun was also taken. The police said that four men entered the store shortly after it opened at 10 o'clock. One of the gunmen was dressed in a private security company's uniform. The men robbed the establishment of cash, several pieces of jewelry, and gaming items. But before leaving the area, one of the gunmen held up and robbed a man of a white Nissan wagon at Constant Spring Mall. Two other suspects then robbed another vehicle, a 2014 Silver Probox, at a premises along Westminster Road and made good their escape. The police said a man accused of abducting and raping a 7-year-old girl in St. Mary on Tuesday remains in custody, and it's reported that the child was found bloodied and battered by a young boy about 5 p.m., nearly 9 hours after she left home for school but never made it. Superintendent Morgan revealed that the man is said to have mental issues, but said he will be assessed, and once he is able, then he is going to be going before the courts. A business place was shot up by gunmen on Wednesday, resulting in the death of a domestic worker at Bottom House Hall in Clarendon. During the incident, two other women were injured. The dead woman was identified as 37-year-old Tara Fullerton, also known as Dal. According to reports, the women were playing bingo at a business place at 5:10 p.m. when a silver Toyota came up and a man alighted with a revolver. The man shot the three women, one of whom worked at the business. The shooter then got away. Fullerton was shot many times in the upper body, while the other woman was shot in hand and foot. Fullerton was declared dead at hospital, and police believe that she was the intended victim of the attack. Meanwhile, the St. James Police have identified 3 persons of interest in connection with 2 double murders committed this week. The incident happened at Crawford Street and Adelphi in Montego Bay. Tevin Lawson, otherwise called Brookham, is being sought in relation to the killings on Crawford Street on Monday, while Lester Gallimore, otherwise called Zado, and Jadane Henry are persons of interest in the double murder in Canaan, Adelphi on Wednesday. And despite a 40% reduction in major crimes, Senior Superintendent Vernon Ellis, commanding officer of the St. James Police, said that the police are still not satisfied with the number of killings and shootings that's taking place in the parish. On to sports, Reno FC will be hoping to rebound from last weekend's loss when they take on Limehall Academy in a Jamaica Football Federation Tier 2 game at Landila Sports Complex, which is set to begin at 3:30 tomorrow. Reno FC, who are in a competition for the first time, are in 7th place on 6 points after winning 2 games and losing 2 others, but are only a point out of the semi-final spot after 4 games. And after losing their first game beaten 2-1 by Treasure Beach, Reno won back-to-back games by an aggregate 8-3 scoreline, but they were beaten 2-1 by True Juice on Saturday after they got to the venue late because of a mechanical issue with their team bus. Reno will face a Limehall Academy team who are in 5th place on 7 points, and they're coming off a 3-1 win over Downs on Saturday, and who will be confident that they can win their second game away from home. Meanwhile, Falmouth United will play away to Downs FC in Manchester. Hopewell United are away at Draxall against Brownstown, and Wadada United will travel to Prison Oval to face Racing United. On to NBA, the Miami Heat and the New York Knicks will clash tonight in Game 6 in Miami in what is going to be a very keenly interesting match. Will the Knicks come out blazing like in Game 5 which they won, or will it be Miami who will be the aggressor? And these two teams are fierce rivals dating back to the 90s when players from both teams used to fight on the court and opposing spectators used to fight in the stands. Remember them days there? Yeah, very stiff rivalry. Anyway, tonight's game is going to be very competitive, and we will see if this is going to have a Game 7. And if you ever miss the news on this radio station, please go to YouTube, type in Jamaican Undiluted News, listen, like, share, and subscribe to keep us going. My name is Mikey Bones. Have a wonderful day. I gone.